Hey, how's it going, Brandon? It's me, Zach, and we're back here with another coaching video so that we can go over some more decks to see exactly what your exact Pikachu Zekrom GX deck can do in this current metagame. So obviously, there are other decks that are not Pikachu Zekrom GX, so it's one of those things where you want to be knowing exactly what to do against all these different decks. So in this video specifically, we're going to be going over your Pikachu and Zekrom GX deck. Even if the arts are a little bit different, it's the exact same deck, and we're going to be facing against an Ability Reshiram and Charizard GX deck. So in the last video that we have, that you hopefully watched, we went over exactly what Ability Reshiram Charizard GX deck is, the cards that are featured in it, and how your deck can beat it. The goal of this video is to showcase exactly what your Pikachu and Zekrom GX deck can do against this deck and showcase it in video form so that you understand the strategies that I was describing in the last video. So we're going to be playing specifically against Alexander Weber's deck. He just made top 8 at the Cologne Regional Championships in Europe, so we know that the list is very good. We're going to be playing against someone from the Rare Candy TCG account. So we're also going to be playing against an amazing opponent to showcase to you the absolute truest form of how the matchup's going to work. I know that I'm excited to see exactly how this game goes. So let's jump in, play the game, shoot over a challenge to Rare Candy TCG, and we'll see exactly how this matchup starts. So let's shoot them over a challenge. And like I said, we're going to be using your exact deck. Even if the arts are a little bit different, if you have different arts in real life or online, it's going to be the exact same deck. Okay. So our goal, as always, is to start with Jirachi, which is going to be great for us. We won the coin flip there. Would we like to go first? Yes. It's so much better for us to be going first. And hopefully our opponent does not start with Jirachi. And hopefully our opponent does not get a turn 1 Welder. Basically, the best thing that you could hope for in Pokemon is that you get a great hand and your opponent doesn't get anything, because it gives you the best chance to win the game very quickly. So while our opponent's playing down Pokemon, we have a mulligan, but that's okay. Sometimes we want to get a better hand. So let's see what we can get. So we started with a Raichu, a Raichu and a Alolan Raichu GX. And we want to start with that over a Zorora because we can always tag switch the energy off, whereas we can't tag switch an energy off of a Zorora. So we're going to start with our tag team Pokemon there. And we don't want to put a Zorora down on our bench because we still have the option to see exactly what our opponent flips up, and we'll find out what they have momentarily. We have a lot that we can have to watch out for in this matchup, with our opponent being able to use Fireball Circus for a quick knockout on the first turn or any point of the game. So we're going to get Zorora there. Let's attach a Lightning Energy to this Raichu and Alolan Raichu. And since we're not attacking on the first turn, it doesn't make sense to play Electro Power. We don't need to play Switch. We can attach another energy. So let's go ahead and play Cynthia, because that's the only option that we have. Got a really weird hand here with 3 Electro Powers and a Lysander Labs. So let's just go Jirachi, and we can retreat into the Jirachi. See what we can get off Stellar Wish. Now, I'm gonna hope that we get a supporter card here. We did not get a supporter card. So the next best thing that we can do is try to get a card that can draw some more cards. So let's grab a Custom Catcher, because at the end of the day, we could always play it to draw something else. Let's put a Lysander Labs into play, just to get it out of our hands. And we'll hold on to those Electro Powers for next turn, because maybe we'll need them. And we're just going to end our turn there. So we'll see what our opponent does. We need to hope that they don't get a welder. And they're going to use Giant Hurt to search out fire energies out of their deck. So a similar strategy that I've discussed in other videos is you want to grab cards out of your deck so you have a higher chance to get cards that you want when you're drawing cards. So they do have a welder there, and they only need to discard one fire energy out of their hand to be able to use Fireball Circus to knock out our Jirachi. So they're going to grab a Cherish Ball there, probably to get a Dedenne if they don't have a fire energy in their hand, or to try to get set up a little bit more. Okay, there's an Acrobike. Awesome. So our opponent's just going to continuously dig for some more cards. And let's see exactly how it goes. Okay, so they knocked out our Jirachi, but we do have an opportunity to get a knockout if we are able to get a Thunder Mountain Prism Star. We did get an Electromagnetic Radar, so that's not half bad. And we could still get a Lightning Energies in our discard pile for Tapu Koko Prism Star. So let's go ahead and go Electro Power and a Lightning Energy. We're going to discard both of those, and I'll explain in one moment. Let's get a Pikachu Zekrom and a Dedenne. So let's put down this. We need to play 2 Electro Powers if we're going to get the knockout out here, because we can use Tandem Shock. We did not send this Pokemon from our bench to our active this turn. It was at the active position to start our turn off. So we need to use 2 Electro Powers to knock out this Blacephalon. Let's see what we could draw off this Custom Catcher. We did get an Escape Board. Don't necessarily think the Escape Board's going to be too helpful for us, but we did top deck a Cynthia, so let's try and play that instead of using Dedenne. Okay, so we didn't entirely get everything that we were hoping for, but we did get a Zapdos, and we do have a Lightning Energy. So we could retreat this Pokemon for free and just get a knockout with Thunderous Assault. We did play 2 Electro Powers, so we are able to do 140 damage to Blacephalon. So we used 1 energy to knock out our opponent's Pokemon that had 3 energies on it. Doesn't seem that bad at all. And if our opponent's not able to get another knockout on us, then we could retreat into our Raichu and Alolan Raichu GX and do some serious damage. Since they have a Turtonator in the active position, the most damage that they could do is 150 damage this turn. Okay, it looks like our opponent's just getting some stuff, and they've already used a second welder. The thing that's tough is that our opponent's going to be using their 1 prize card Pokemon to knock out our Pokemon, and they could even knock out some of our 2 or 3 prize card Pokemon with those Pokemon, so it can be difficult for us to keep up in this matchup. Okay, we're just waiting to see exactly what our opponent's going to do. They might... Oh, they're going to go Fire Crystal. Maybe they'll bring up one of our other Pokemon and just try to hit it for 150 damage. I'm not entirely sure what the plan is here for our opponent on this side. So they're going to go 9 Temptations. Maybe they'll try to two-shot that Raichu and Alolan Raichu GX. Oh, they're going to start attacking Pikachu Zekrom. And they're going to go Heat Factory. So they're going to continuously dig through their deck. That's okay. There's a Victini Prism Star to bring some of those energies back. And they're going to hit for Explosive Jets. If you find yourself struggling against Ninetales, you can always add a Stealthy Hood into your deck. How many energies are in our opponent's discard pile? 10? Okay. How many Fire Crystals do they have in there? 1? Okay. Okay, so let's do this. And let's go switch into the Raichu and Alolan Raichu. We're going to try to get something off of Cynthia. And while we didn't get what we exactly wanted here, we can always try to Dedenne to try to get a Thunder Mountain Prism Star. Or we can get out an Energy Switch. So we actually didn't get any of those, which is quite tough for us. We don't have any other ways to draw other cards. So, let's bump our opponent's Heat Factory. Let's go Pokemon Communication this away. Let's grab our Tapu Koko Prism Star. Let's get some energies on our board. I want to leave options open here, so let's get those energies there. And let's retreat into a Jirachi. Let's use Stellar Wish. It would have been really nice if we could grab 2 of these cards because we happen to get some really good ones. But let's go for Thunder Mountain in case our opponent bumps our Lysander Labs for next turn. And with that being said, let's just go ahead and pass our turn. So our opponent might not have a Welder in their hands. And when things don't go well, you just gotta continuously go forward with your strategy that you came up with. We're hoping that our opponent runs out of resources like Welder and stuff like that. So the best thing that we the best thing that we can do, Brandon, right now is see exactly what our opponent does during their turn. So they're gonna bump our stadium there. Okay. And if you ever want to see what your opponent has access to, double check through their discard pile. They can only play 4 of every single card except for energies. So we know that they don't have that many cards left. With only 14 cards left in deck and a Turtonator in the active position, it might be difficult for them to get what they want. there's their welder. So they're probably going to welder another energy onto their Victini Prism Star. Maybe they have a switch. Or a way to get out of the active position. Fire Crystal, they're probably going to bring up one of our other Pokemon to knock it out. Probably our Pikachu PikaRom GX. And there's a switch, and that's going to get a knockout. Since they don't have a way to block our abilities, we're going to actually start off by setting up a Zorora here. We actually have a pretty good hand, and based off other things that we've done in our other videos, Reset Stamp is a great way to jump back into the game. So let's go for Zorora right here and see what we can top deck. So we top decked a Jirachi. So we can only play our only supporter, which is Volkner. Let's grab a Lightning Energy and an Electromagnetic Radar. We do have access to another Dedenne in our deck. And since we don't need that many other cards to get things going with our deck, let's discard a Jirachi and a Lightning Energy. To grab a Dedenne, and let's discard another card that we don't need. Let's discard a Raichu and Alolan Raichu GX. So let's go ahead and reset stamp our opponents, putting all their cards back to give them less options. Let's play a Thunder Mountain so they don't have access to their giant Hearth anymore. And let's go ahead and use Dedenne to try to draw a fresh hand. So while that didn't necessarily get us what we wanted, we can go Lightning Energy here onto Raichu and Alolan Raichu, retreat, and we can do a knockout for 160 damage with Tandem Shock. And let's see what our opponent can do during their turn. They've already played 3 Welder, so it's very possible they're not able to knock out our active Pokemon. So they're going to go ahead and use Stellar Wish. Ah, Pal Pad. So that will get them back some other Welders to give them some options. Okay. Okay. So there's only so much that our opponent can do with 0 cards in their hands. We can go Volkner here. Grab a... We have no more Lightning Energies. Tag Switch doesn't necessarily matter. But we can grab Energy Switch. So let's go ahead and grab an Energy Switch. Seems like one of the better cards we can grab from our hands. We don't need to attack with Zorora. So let's go Energy Switch from here to here. We have an escape board for our Jirachi. Let's go ahead and use our free retreat to our Zapdos so that we can knock out this Jirachi easily, because we want to protect our bench Pokemon that are worth a couple of prize cards. We don't need the Dedenne or the Zorora in our hands just in case our opponent does play a reset stamp. So let's get those cards out of our hands. And let's go for Thunderous Assault for the knockout. And our goal should be to knock out this Reshiram and Charizard GX on our opponent's bench. With us already having a custom catcher in our hand, it's possible that we win the game next turn. So we'll see what our opponent top decked. So they grabbed a Welder. And see, this is what Reset Stamp can do to our opponents. So with us having a Raichu and Alolan Raichu GX, and since we meet the requirements for Lightning Ride GX, I believe we actually have win in hand. So let's... Oh, we are still one card short. I should have probably played Cynthia there. Let's go grab a custom catcher. Because we need to get custom catcher and Electro Power. So let's grab... Actually, let's grab Switch. Switch gives us a pretty good option to knock out this Pokemon. So let's go Switch into Jirachi. We can still use Stellar Wish to try to grab a card for next turn. We have a custom catcher there, which will allow us to win the game on the Dedenne. And let's retreat back into our Zapdos and knock out this Jirachi. It's very possible that our opponent is not able to win this game. I'm assuming they're probably going to send up their Reshiram Charizard GX. And since they grabbed Welder, they might be able to top deck something really good. Okay. And we'll see exactly what our opponent can do here. They need to get something like a Giant Hearth or a Fire Crystal. And they need 1 energy to attach to use their Double Blaze GX. And they need to use Ninetales and Alolan Ninetales in order to win the game. To bring up one of our 2 prize card Pokemon. So the only reason why I put us up in a somewhat weird position is because I got too excited and I didn't play the Cynthia instead of the Volkner last turn. It's possible we could have missed it, but right now with the Zapdos in the active position, if our opponent knocks out the Zapdos, we are in a position to win the game next turn if our opponent does not win this turn. And they're just going to pass and try to save their GX attack for next turn. So luckily for us, we have double custom catcher. We could bring up this Dedenne. We have 2 prize cards left. We could attach a lightning energy here. And we can retreat and get the knockout. If we had 3 prize cards left, we could have used Volkner instead of custom catcher, grabbed an Electro Power, and then used Lightning Ride GX to hit for 280 damage to win the game. So let's go ahead and do that. Knockout there for 280 damage. And we'll just send up Zapdos again. So, super close game, but we did use Reset Stamp to put our opponent in a rough position after they used almost all of their draw supporters. So, with most of the games in major events being best 2 out of 3, we're going to let our opponent go first in the next game that we play, because every single game of Pokemon can be different, and it is possible that our opponent got slightly unlucky to lose that last game. So let's try it again, see what's up there, and we'll send over our friends at Rare Candy TCG another challenge. Okay, cool. So same matchup as we played last time. Basically, our goal is to knock out Pokemon as easily as possible, hopefully with Pokemon like Zapdos, and then try to get off a Tag Bolt GX to knock out 2 Pokemon. I know we didn't get Tag Bolt GX off last game, but it is definitely one of our plans heading into the game. And if all else fails, use Reset Stamp to hurt your opponents. And always try to counter their stadiums. So let's call Tails here. We lost the flip anyways, So Rare Candy TCG is probably going to choose to go first. I don't know what it is. We keep on getting these mulligans. We have plenty of basics. We only play basic Pokemon. Hopefully we don't start with a Dedenne here or something like that. We'll see what our next hand brings us. Zorora and a Jirachi. So Jirachi is actually one of the best starts we have available to us in the deck. And we actually don't want to play that Zorora down because we have a Pokemon Communication in our hands, and we might want to get a knockout as early as our first turn with Zapdos if we have it in our deck. So it's not always the correct choice to put down cards with Zorora, even if you're going seconds. So our opponent started with a Vulpix. And we'll see what they get off Cherish Ball. With them grabbing a Dedenne, they're either going to go for a Pokemon Communication, or they're going to discard their entire hands. It's a Heat Factory. And their deck might struggle to get Welder out. We'll see exactly how it goes. They've attached for their turn, put a Jirachi down. And what are they going to discard off Dedenne? A Palpad. What else did they discard? Palpad, some Fires, a Reshiram Charizard GX. Putting a Heatran GX away. I wonder what they're going to go through and find here. A Turtonator. So Turtonator can discard energies off any of their Pokemon. So one thing that we want to be focusing on is taking away their energies, and they did not get a Welder on the first turn of the game. So here, we can simply go Pokemon Communication. Since we top decked another Pokemon, we can put this Dedenne away. And there's the Zapdos that we were thinking about grabbing. We see that we have our Tapu Koko Prism Star. We see we have our Thunder Mountain. We see we have only one energy prized. There's not much else. We have a Pikachu Zekrom prized. We have a Custom Catcher prized. Nothing too crazy at all. We also have a Volkner prized. So let's grab the Zapdos so we could possibly get a knockout on our first turn. We're going to go a Skateboard there. We're going to put Zorora down. There's not really a point of us playing down Electro Power. So let's go ahead and go Cynthia, and hopefully we can get a Lightning Energy. So we did not get a Lightning Energy. Here we're in a rough position because we didn't get the Lightning Energy. So let's go Electromagnetic Radar. We don't need any of these cards because we're just going to discard them anyways. It's got a Pikachu Zekrom and a Dedenne GX. So we're just going to try to get what we want off the Dedenne GX. Since we're pitching our hand away anyways with Dedenne Change, we're going to play an Electro Power. And we could play Reset Stamp, but it would end up drawing our opponent one more card, and we don't want to do that. So let's put Pikachu Zekrom GX down, and let's go Dedenne to use Dedenne Change. Hopefully we can get a Lightning Energy off this. Okay, awesome. So we were able to get a Lightning Energy there. We're going to attach to Zapdos. But before we do that, it's often better for us to use Stellar Wish. So let's go ahead and use that. We might as well grab a Tag Switch there, just to give ourselves more options for next turn and a higher chance of grabbing cards that we want. There's that. Let's retreat. Send up Zapdos. And let's drop a Lysander Labs, just in case our opponent wants to retreat this Jirachi with an Escape Board next turn. Thunderous Assault, knock it on the Vulpix, and we draw a prize card on our first turn. And we ended up getting a Volkner. That's actually pretty awesome. So we'll see what our opponent does. Naturally, they're going to send up a Jirachi, and hopefully they're not able to knock out one of our Tag Team GX Pokemon. They are able to do that if they got out a Ninetales to bring up one of our Tag Team GX Pokemon, and then use Fireball Circus to discard a bunch of fires from their hand. It's not really common for them to do that, but it is a possibility. So they did get a switch. And we'll see what our opponent does here. Okay, there's a Victini Prism Star. They're going to put that Turtonator away. And maybe they'll grab a Dedenne here. They could switch before they use Dedenne. Or maybe they're just grabbing a Dedenne to clear a card out of their deck. So with them attaching another Fire Energy to their Blacephalon, I'm assuming that they're having issues finding Welder, or maybe they have a few Welders prized. So they're discarding a decent bit of resources away. We'll see exactly what this Blacephalon GX can do next turn. Okay, there's a Giant Hearth. So they're just going to discard a Fire. Grabbing a couple more, and we'll see if they got the Welder. They're probably only going to attach one energy to that Blacephalon. There's a Fire Crystal, another one. So that's the second Fire Crystal that they've played in the game. And there's a knockout on our Zapdos. So with them knocking out our Lysander Labs and putting that into our discard pile, we could safely send up our Jirachi. So our goal is to try to find Tapu Koko Prism Star this turn. So let's go Thunder Mountain to start off. And let's just try to go for it. We're going to probably have to go for Dedenne here. I think that seems like the best choice. So we're going to end up discarding our whole hand anyways. Let's go to Dedenne, and just in case we need that Raichu for another turn, we're going to save that. And same thing with Dedenne in our deck. We want to have another one just in case. Since we're discarding this hand anyways, let's go for an Electro Power. And let's go for Dedenne GX. We're going to discard a Tag Switch and a Volkner. We did get a Lightning Energy there. So we're going to attach that to the Pikachu Zekrom. And let's go ahead and go Cynthia. If we can get a Tapu Koko Prism off, we're for sure going to get the knockout here. So there's Raichu and Alolan Raichu GX going back in for the Tapu Koko Prism Star. And before we play anything down, we can always go for Stellar Witch to see what we can grab. So we're going to grab a Volkner for next turn. Tapu Koko Prism Star. Dance of the Ancients. Let's power up these two Pokemon. And since we only have one energy, we're just going to power up our Pikachu Zekrom. Let's go ahead and retreat. And we're going to go for full Blitz knockout right onto our active Pokemon. And that's going to draw us another prize card. If we can use two custom catchers next turn, we could actually win the game by knocking out both the Dedenne GX. Our opponent would need to go through a lot of resources in order to knock out our Pikachu Zekrom GX. Okay, they're going to play another Giant Hearth, so let's see exactly what they can do. They can get the knockout one of two ways, by knocking out with a Blacephalon, or by getting 12 energies in the discard pile to use Infinity for 240 damage. So let's see what our opponent decides to do here. They also need to get another Welder to be able to pull off any of that. So it might be hard for them to get that card as well. There's a Cherish Ball for a Reshiram Charizard GX. It's always good to double check through your discard pile to see what options you have. Okay, so they got a welder. Let's see exactly what they are going to be doing here. We really need to hope that they're not able to knock out this Pikachu and PikaRom GX. Okay, they're going to welder onto their Victini. And how many energies do they have in their discard pile? They have 8. So they need to get another 4 in their discard pile in order to knock out this Pikachu and PikaRom GX. There's a AbilityZard. And they're just going to hit us for 160. Okay, so we got an energy switch there. So our best course of action is actually switching into this Jirachi. And it might seem like a good idea to go ahead and use Volkner first to grab a custom catcher, but we actually want to try to draw a custom catcher off Stellar Wish. So we got one there. Awesome. Let's go for Volkner to grab our second one. And we have the energy that we need to win the game by using Tag Bolt GX. So let's go double custom catchers. Bring up a Dedenne. Let's retreat here. And use Tag Bolt GX to win the game by knocking out 2 GX Pokemon to draw our remainder 4 prize cards. So that was a quick win by us, a little bit of a better setup than the last game, and we didn't need Reset Stamp to win the game. But you want to know what? I don't know if our opponent got a great start. It seemed like they had some issues getting set up during the first couple turns. So let's play one more game against this matchup and see exactly how it goes. We'll let Rare Candy TCG go first this game. So just a quick recap on that game. You want to start the game off by leading with your single prize card attacking Pokemon. In this case, you only have one, and that's Zapdos. So you want to use Zapdos to take an early game knockout, use Full Blitz to take another knockout, and then aim to knock out 2 of their Dedenne GX or GX Pokemon in general to draw your remainder 4 prize cards. If that does not work, you want to be able to use Reset Stamp if your opponent knocks out some of your Pokemon early on to give your opponent a rough hand, or at least try to give them a rough hand. Does that sound good to you? And as always, if you have any questions with anything that you see here, or if it's not working out for you, or you just want to talk during our next coaching session, or feel free to shoot me a message if you have any questions at all. I'd love to help walk you through these, whatever questions you have. Or you could always rewatch the video as well, and then take some notes. It seems like a pretty fun way to learn more about Pokemon, at least if you ask me. So let's shoot over Rare Candy TCG a challenge, and we'll see exactly how this game goes. So they're going to be playing the same deck, the Ability Reshiram and Charizard GX deck, and if you want to learn more about this deck, you can watch the last video that goes over a deck profile of exactly what this deck has to offer. They're playing Alexander Weber's top 8 Cologne list. So a very, very good list, and we have a very great opponent playing this on the Rare Candy TCG channel. And we lost the flip anyways, so they're going to go first. So let's see what we can get here. We absolutely have an awful start. So maybe we'll end up playing another game after this, depending on how it goes. Tapu Koko Prism Star, 2 Electro Powers, an Energy Switch, a Lysander Labs, a Switch, and a Lightning Energy. Not much that we can do, but we'll see whatever we top deck. They started with their Prism Star Pokemon too. That's kind of funny. If they don't get another Pokemon and we top deck a Zapdos, we could actually win the game by attaching an Energy, playing Switch, and then using Energy Switch to win the game. Oh, wow. So that's a little crazy. Let's play an Electro Power just in case that ends up happening. Might as well attach a Lightning Energy to Tapu Koko as well. There's no reason not to play a Lysander Labs down just to take care of our opponent's Giant Hearth. And let's go ahead and play a Cynthia. So Cynthia was a great top deck for us. So we got a Zapdos there. We got an Electromagnetic Radar. Let's discard 2 Lightning Energies for a Zorora and a Dedenne. And we'll see if we can get anything usable off this Dedenne. It's possible that we could win this game this turn. So let's try to map out this hand to see if there's anything that we can use. We can use Stadium Nav to waste a card out of our hands. We could put Jirachi down, but we can't draw an extra card. So that being said, it seems almost better for us to... We can't retreat. We can't play another Stadium. Well, we can retreat, but we can't win the game if we do that. So let's just put down Jirachi. Let's retreat into Jirachi and see if we can get anything off Stellar Wish. We do have an escape board for next turn, so it is possible for us to win the game. We might as well... Did they discard any fires? They did discard a fire. So instead of us playing down that escape board, we're actually going to chill on that escape board. Let's use Dance of the Ancients to power up those 2 Pokemon. And if our opponent proceeds to have nothing again, we can win the game next turn. So let's go ahead and pass. So we'll see what our opponent gets here. Based off their last turn, it didn't seem like they got much. There's a Giant Hearth, so they're going to bump our Stadium. And they could actually get the knockout on the Jirachi if they attach another energy with Infinity. Wow, that's a really poor draw for our opponent. So we're going to send up Zorora here, because that's the best thing that we can send up. Because we could always get an Electro Power and knock it with Zapdos. And you want to know what? We don't even need to flip for Stadium Nav. We'll see exactly if it would have got us out anything anyways. There's Double Heads. There's a Thunder Mountain. So we had game both ways. With us top decking an Energy Switch, we can always Energy Switch from there to there. Attach Skateboard. And we could have saw if we could have got anything off Custom Catcher anyways. So we would have got the Electro Power even if we want to retreat into our Zapdos. So let's go ahead and do that since that's the easiest way to win the game. For the knockout. Sucks that our opponent got a really rough hand. So you want to know what? Let's play one more game. See if our opponent can get set up properly. And we'll try to play it out again. That's the one issue with Ability Reshiram Charizard, is it's sometimes inconsistent. So, crazy that we started with Tapu Koko Prism Star and our opponent dead drew. But we did everything that we could in the game. And that's the one thing that you got to think about when you're playing Pokemon. Never give up, because even though we started with Tapu Koko Prism Star and a dead hand, our opponent had a hand that was much worse, and we ended up top decking a Cynthia. our opponent didn't get anything for 2 full turns, whereas we ended up being able to top deck a supporter card. So let's shoot them over another challenge. We'll play your exact Pikachu PikaRom GX deck against their Reshiram Charizard GX ability deck based on Alexander Weber's list from Cologne Regionals. And we'll let them go first again, just to see exactly how that game could have gone. And you want to know what? We ended up losing the flip again. So let's see what we get here. This is a much better hand for us. We're starting with Jirachi, our absolute best start. We have supporters in our hand, and we'll see exactly what our opponent can get started with. They started with Jirachi too, so that's a much better start than Victini Prism Star. So I'm sure they're looking through their deck to see exactly if they prize any of their important cards. Obviously, the most important card in a deck like this is Welder. So I'm sure we'll find out. And I'm actually getting a message from them right now. They actually said they prized 3 Welders. That's so sad. Give them a little heartbreak emoji there. But these are the things that we can use to our advantage to try to win the game. Just because they prized a couple Welders, or I guess in this case 3 Welders, doesn't necessarily mean we're going to win the game. We might not be able to get anything off Jirachi, or maybe they'll be able to draw their Welder, then play a Palpad, and then draw some prize cards. So we'll see exactly how that plays out. And they're going to keep on going through with other cards too. Okay, it looks like our opponent's getting a little bit of setup here. Still no sign of a Welder. Another Jirachi. See what they can get here. A skateboard. Okay, cool. So here it seems weird, but we want to use Giant Earth to discard a Lightning Energy, and that's for Tapu Koko Prism Star, which we do have in our deck. So we're checking through to see if we have anything important prized. So we see here that we have... Is that our Zapdos prize? Nope, doesn't look like we prized any Pokemon that I can see. Oh, we prized a Dedenne GX. We prized 2 custom catchers, so that's 3 of our prize cards. We prized an Electro Power, that's 4 of our prize cards. We prized an Energy Switch, that's 5 of our prize cards. And we prized an Energy, that's 6 of our prize cards. So we know exactly what we have in our prize cards, but we do have the 2 most important cards in our deck, Tapu Koko Prism Star and Lightning Energy. Or, sorry, Tapu Koko Prism Star and Thunder Mountain Prism Star. So let's go ahead and go with Cynthia here. Hopefully we can get a Pokemon here so our opponent doesn't win. And our best option is to go forward with Stellar Wish. We got an escape board there. That's awesome. So we can actually get a knockout on their Jirachi on the first turn that we play Pokemon. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go Lightning Energy there. Put a Jirachi down. We could retreat our Jirachi here first. And we want to retreat before we play Lysander Labs, just so that we're able to retreat. and if our opponent gets another escape board for their turn. So there's a Thunderous Assault. That's a knockout. And our opponent's probably going to send up their Jirachi. Okay, just seeing what our opponent's doing. They're going to go right into a welder. Looks like they're getting all set up. So with them prizing welder, 3 of them, they only have access to 0 welder left in their deck. Unless they draw one off their prize cards. Okay, so we don't have a lot of options other than sending up this Jirachi. And we did get a Tapu Koko Prism Star. So let's go ahead and Volkner. Let's grab an Electromagnetic Radar and a Lightning Energy. We already have 2 Lightning Energies in our discard pile. So let's go ahead and go Electromagnetic Radar, discarding an Electro Power and a Reset Stamp. 2 cards that we won't be able to use. Let's grab a Dedenne GX and... I wonder what the other card we should grab. How many Switch has our opponent used? Considering their deck only plays 3 Switch. Let's grab a Raichu and a Alolan Raichu, since our opponent's already going in with a Reshiram Charizard GX. So let's do this. Let's attach an energy to it. And let's go ahead and use Dedenne GX. So we got the energy switch, so that's awesome. Let's put down a Raichu and Alolan, or a Pikachu Zekrom GX. And let's use Dance of the Ancients to power up those 2 Pokemon. And before we go ahead and go with anything like Energy Switch, let's see what Stellar Wish brings us. There's a Tag Switch, so maybe next turn we can use a different attack. Let's go ahead and go Energy Switch from our Pikachu Zekrom GX onto our Raichu and Alolan Raichu GX. So instead of us going full blitz here, we're going to retreat and we're going to go Tandem Shock to paralyze our opponent's Pokemon. Maybe they won't be able to come back from that by playing a switch or anything like that. And based off the fact that they do have a couple welders prized, or 3 welders that is, if they didn't get one off their prize cards, it's very possible for us to just steal the knockout on this Reshiram Charizard, and they won't have a way to answer the game. There's a Cherish Ball. They might be going for a Heatran GX here. Looks like it's exactly what they're going to be doing. Maybe they'll switch and move all the energies there. Oh, they got a Ninetales. A Heat Factory. So it looks like they're searching for cards in order to be able to get a switch. Just going to go Fire Energy onto the Ninetales. Still trying to find that switch, I guess. But the Heatran GX is gone, so we don't need to worry about that. So they were able to get a switch. So if they can't find an escape board or anything like that, then we can try to get double Custom Catcher to knock out that Reshiram Charizard GX on their bench. So they did get an escape board. Maybe they're just going to hit us for 230 damage with Reshiram Charizard GX's Flare Strike attack. I'm not entirely sure. They haven't retreated yet. Maybe they'll use 9 Temptations to bring up a Dedenne. And if they use Knockout Dedenne with Flare Strike, they are in a very good position to draw the remainder 3 prize cards. So our strategy is going to change a little bit with that being the way that it's played out. But let's send up Jirachi anyways. And since we've already used our reset stamp early game, we can't use it again. Let's play this down since that's not going to hurt us. And let's power up this Pikachu PikaRom GX. Our opponent shouldn't be able to knock out this Pikachu PikaRom GX unless they use Blacephalon or Victini Prism Star. But it seems like that's going to be difficult for them to do. So let's go ahead and go Cynthia. Let's get ourselves set up to try to win the game next turn. So we do have access to Stadium Nav. Let's play that out right now. We don't really need Thunder Mountain Prism Star. So let's grab a Lysander Lapse to try to hurt our opponent's chances of getting what they want. Let's not play it down because we have a Pokemon that needs to retreat with a skateboard, and that would shut it off. Let's see what Stellar Wish brings us. Stellar Wish brought us an Electro Power. Let's retreat into this Jirachi and try to go for Stellar Wish again. There's another Volkner. We still have access to Switch. So let's go ahead, use Switch into this Raichu and Alolan Raichu GX. And let's give ourselves our best opportunity to win this game. We have a choice of using 2 attacks. And before we use any of those attacks, we're going to go for Lysander Labs to take away our opponent's options. Look what we have in our discard pile. And do we want to use Lightning Ride GX or Tandem Shock? We actually don't need to use Lightning Ride GX at all because most of our opponent's Pokemon don't have a lot. So it doesn't matter if we use either one. Both of these attacks get the knockout, but I'd feel much safer if we sent up a Jirachi or another single prize card Pokemon so our opponent has less chances of winning the game. So let's go Lightning Ride GX, knock that out, and let's send up this Jirachi. So 1 prize card, 2 prize cards, 3 prize cards. Awesome. So we got one of the custom catchers that we need to try to win the game. We just need to get one more custom catcher and a way to get this Jirachi out of the active position to knock out this Dedenne GX on our opponent's bench. So we'll see exactly what our opponent has options to do. There's a Fire Crystal. A Victini Prism Star. So we got to be careful of what options they have for energies. So they have 9 in their discard pile right now. It is possible for them to 9 Temptations, knock out our Pikachu PikaRom GX if they get the right combination of cards. So these games can be incredibly tight. Okay, so let's see if our opponent's able to get the win. based off them not going through their actions quickly, I'm assuming that they don't have it. And we'll see exactly what they do. They're either going to knock out our Jirachi this turn, or they're going to retreat into a Jirachi and pass. And if they have a trainer card of any kind in their deck, they can automatically grab one of it off of their Stellar Wish. Okay. So, let's see exactly what our options are here. We actually don't have a Zorora GX in play. So, before we go in with our deck, let's see what we can get off this electromagnetic radar. Let's discard a Dedenne and a Volkner. We're going to grab a Zorora, and we're going to double check. So we have 2 custom catchers in our deck. So it looks like we have win in hand automatically. So let's grab a Zorora, put that down. Volkner. We're going to Volkner for a custom catcher. And we might as well grab a lightning energy while we're there. Let's use double custom catchers since we have 2 prize cards left to bring up a Dedenne. We can attach the energy right to our active Pokemon. And be careful not to use Stellar Wish in a situation like this. We can retreat like that, sending up that, and we can go for Tandem Shock. So out of the 4 games we played against AbilityZard, we were able to win 4 times. It seemed like the AbilityZard deck struggled to set up during the games we played here, but that's completely fine. It's one of those things that happens when you're playing the game. So, like I said, the key strategy in this matchup is to use single prize card attackers, such as your only one as Zapdos, to knock out your opponent's Pokemon early. Then try to go into a full blitz to use Tag Bolt GX to knock out 2 of their GX Pokemon to draw your remaining 4 prize cards. That's the absolute best strategy that you can use against this deck. And if all else fails, think on your toes, use cards like Reset Stamp to disrupt your opponent, and remember Custom Catcher is a vital card in this matchup. It's very good. So you don't want to be wasting those early if you have a choice. Search through your prize cards every single game when you're looking through your deck to see if you have your Tapu Koko Prism star there, and if you have your Thunder Mountain. So with all those tips, you should be able to do pretty great things in that matchup, and I hope this video was super helpful for you today, Brandon. That being said, that's going to be it for today, and if you have any questions, again, during our next session, feel free to ask me. I'd be more than willing to help you out in that matchup, or you could always rewatch this video and it will fully explain what you could be doing in that matchup. The next video that we have is going to focus on another deck profile, so you could see exactly what you're playing against, and then we're going to be playing against that matchup. So that's going to be the theme for all these videos, but I think it's going to give you the best options for you to learn more and more about these decks and learn more about the game of Pokemon. Maybe you saw something you liked in Ability Reshiram Charizard GX, and it's a deck you want to try out. That'd be great. Playing Pokemon is a great way to learn, play different decks, use your brain differently, use different strategies, and ultimately I just want to see you have the most success you possibly can, no matter which way you want to be playing the game. So, again, I hope you enjoyed it, that you liked watching these videos, that you learned something from it, and we'll jump into the next video. Be sure to watch that to learn some more. And yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, Brandon.